Okay. So there are different annotations in TestNG from suit level. Suit means a collection of test cases. That's called a suit, a group of test cases. Those are called a suit or suite, people will call. So in the suit, you can have multiple test cases. So now here you have a before suit, after suit. So it is very clearly saying before suit, after suit. So that means this before suit annotated method will run before all the test cases in the suit have run. That means your suit, for example, there are 10 classes in the suit. 10 classes execution before first this block of code will execute. When you annotated a method with @ before suit. That means the suit before this code will execute. Like, maybe deployment or something. So your setup, something, anything you want to set before running your entire suit, then you can use this before suit. Maybe some installations, some deployments, or anything preconditional code you want to write, that you can write it here in the before suit. So then we have a after suit. So after suit means after all the 10 test cases are executed. Example, I'm just giving an example. All the test cases in the suit have completed. Then after suit block of code will execute. After suit block of code will execute. So before test. So before test means before understanding this before test. So let's understand the suit file format. There is a XML file. So that XML file you already seen HTML file, right? Same way we have XML file. That XML file format, let me show you. If you go here, TestNG documentation, you can see testng.xml. So testng.xml is also called a suit file. So what is the suit file format if anybody asks you? So you need to tell. So this is the one. So this is one of the sample I have given. So Angular bracket doc type suit system. This is the suit file declaration. XML declaration, basically this one. Then first suit tag, then name equal to name value and verbose value. Test tag, name, so test name, classes. So classes inside you can write a class tag. So you can mention all the classes. Basically you can mention all the classes. So no package classes or some classes, maybe you can mention. Again, test tag means tag level. Basically a tag level, you can mention some of the classes. And see under test, again you have a classes tag. Classes tag inside you can mention each TestNG class with one class tag. Each TestNG class with a class tag. Then test tag ends. See class tag ends here also. So classes tag starts and class tag. Each individual class is represented by one class tag. Each individual class is represented by one class tag. So each individual class is represented by one class tag and that name. So name is an attribute. This is the tag. So after all classes you mention under classes tag, then close the classes tag, then close the test tag. So this is the one test tag. You can write one more test tag. You can start after ending the first test tag. You can start a one more test tag. Test name regression classes tag. Then classes tag inside say class tag name equal to package dot class name. One more class tag. So name equal to test sample parameter test. So then classes tag. Then test tag. So test tag here and test tag here. Then suit tag. Then suit tag. So suit tag. So on the top, beginning, and at the end, it closes. Closes the suit tag. So suit tag, inside you have a one test tag, one more test tag, one more test tag. Then we have a suit tag. Inside you have one more. See, simple. This is the simple. Here we are mentioning classes, right? Even you can mention packages. Package contains a bunch of classes, right? Instead of writing one by one class, if we want to run the entire package, so then you can mention that package name. So under packages, package. Again, see the same structure. Suit tag. First, it will start with a suit tag. This is the one. The before suit will run before this suit. Then it will come inside. Then test tag. Test tag inside classes. Classes inside methods. Test methods will be there. Different methods will be there. So this is what you need to understand here, how the structure of a suit file. So if you understand this structure, then we can go for the before test. Before test means this annotated method will be run before any test method belonging to the classes inside the test tag have run. So the test tag before, so the test tag means the test tag inside test methods run before the before test code will execute. This before test code, when it will execute. So this test tag inside this class is there, right? The class inside you have @test methods. That test method execution before, first before test will execute, then cursor will come inside this test tag. So that means after before suit, next immediately before test will execute. So before test is a test tag level. So this test tag execution before test will execute. Then these classes will execute. After these classes, there is one more after test. After test means, so the annotated method will run after all the test cases. So that belong to the classes inside the test tag. Test tag inside classes methods after. Then after test will execute. So that means it's a basically tag level, it will repeat test tag level. If you have one more test tag, so we have one more test tag, right? First cursor will go to before test annotation. Then it will come inside. First, this class will execute. All the methods will complete. Then this class will start executing. After all these classes, and then test tag is ending, right? Then it will go to after test. So that means every test tag before test will execute. Every test tag after test will execute. So even in JUnit we have, right? But we don't have this suit file there. Test tags we don't have. They're only class level. Then method level you have annotations in JUnit. But here, suit level you have. Test tag level you have annotations. Class level also you have annotations. Class level annotations, I will tell you first. If you understand this, we can move to class level. That's a before test to after test. So there is a before groups. Before groups, what it will do, this will execute a list of groups before. Again, before means before all the groups. Just a configuration. So at that before groups, public void before groups, you can write the code here. So after groups. So after all the groups completed execution, then after groups code will execute. After groups code will execute. Next, we have a class level before class. We already seen in JUnit before all, right? Before all is nothing but in the TestNG before class. So this is the class level annotation. First, this annotated method will run before the first test method in the current class is invoked. Current class, any test method execution before, first before class code will execute, then next other methods will execute. This is the class level annotation, current class level. So this before class is only for current class. Current class execution before, first before class will execute, then remaining methods will start executing one by one. So this will execute only one time only, even before suit to, after suit, before test to, after test to, before class, before groups. So these are all one time only they will execute. They won't repeat. But before test will repeat for every test tag, every test tag. Multiple test tags are there in the suit file, then before test will repeat. But before suit to, before class won't repeat. Okay, so that's the before class behavior. So public void before class, method name, and write the precondition code for every test case. So then we have a after class. So the annotated method will be run after all the test methods in the current class have been run. So this annotated method will be run after all the test methods in the current class have been run. So after class, so public void after class, this annotated method, maybe after all the test methods in the current class completed, then after class will execute. So that's the before class means, understand before class. So before the current class, the before class annotated method will execute. After class means, okay, after all the methods in the current class completed, then after class will execute. Same way we have a before method. So before method means the annotated method will be run before each test method. So this is the method level annotation. So at the test method level annotation, this before method means. So the annotated method will be run before each test method. So before method, public void setup, precondition code for every test code. So then after method, the annotated method will be run after each test method. So that means before method, after method. So it will repeat first before method, then test method, then after method. If one more test method is there, again controller will go to this before method inside, then it will come to next test method, then after method. So that's the before method and after method. So this is the method level annotation. So there is a question, interview question. What is the difference between before test and before method? That's interview question. So what you will answer? What you will answer?
The before method will run before each test method. So
before test,
before test,
first point you have to tell before test is a test tag level. Before method is a method level annotation. Before test is a test tag level annotation. Before method annotation is a method level annotation. So before test will be executed before any test in the classes inside the test tag. Test tag inside this test tag inside, this test tag inside any test method of these classes, first before test will execute, then it will come inside. That's a before test. That's a, please understand, okay? So if you by heart, you won't get. So interview, if you want to answer, you need to listen carefully and capture those points, some of the points. That really helps you. Yeah. Okay. Next. That's all the annotations. What are the annotations in TestNG? Before suit, after suit. Before test, after test. Before groups, after groups. Before class, after class. Before method, after method. At the rate test method. At the rate test method means it's a test case. Now we are going to discuss on at the rate data provider. At the rate data provider. So what is mean by data provider? Data provider. See, meaning it is going to provide a data to your test methods. Or you can simply say, this is the data provider means which supplies the data to your test method. So that means you can store the data in the data provider annotation. Then that will supply for a test method. That will supply for a test method. So the annotated method must return an object to two-dimensional array, where each object can be assigned the parameter list of the test method. Parameter list of the test method. So the test method, so which is going to return the data, receive the data from data provider, needs to use a data provider name equals to the name of the annotation. So let me show you. So what will happen here? This is just a demo, and you will write a data provider annotation. You can give a name. So name of the data provider. What name you want to give for this data provider? Public. See the return type method. What is the return type of this data provider? Object to two-dimensional array. It returns object to two-dimensional array, and you can give a method name. So this is the method name you can give. So object to two-dimensional array. So data equal to new object to two-dimensional array, rows and columns. Rows and columns. So rows tells you number of times test has to be executed. Columns will tell you number of parameters in the test method. So the column count from where you will get from test method. Okay, how many parameters are there? That parameter count is your column count. Row count means okay, how many sets of data you are giving, how many times you want to repeat your test method. So that's the data driven. So you are driving a scenario with a different sets of data. That's a data driven testing or data driven framework means. So that data driven framework is supported by this annotation, data provider annotation. Object to two-dimensional array. So data equal to new object, rows and columns. Okay. See, very clearly saying rows tells you number of times test has to be executed. Columns tells you number of parameters count. How many parameters are there in your test method? That count is your column count. Okay. So for which columns you are supplying data. That is what the column count. So just create an object to two-dimensional array. So example, I'm just giving data equal to new object. See, 3 rows and 2 columns. What is mean by this? 3 rows means 3 different sets of data you are storing in this data two-dimensional array with the 2 parameters. That means your test method has a 2 parameters. So one is basically I'm giving just an example for login scenario. For login, we will give only username, password, right? So that's why 2 parameters. If registration, you are supplying data for registration scenario, there are many scenarios, right? There will be many scenarios, right? So many fields will be there. Then columns count will vary. Okay, so that's the here. I have only 2 parameters. That's a login scenario. Only username, password. See, first row. So 3 sets of data, right? I have to give 3 sets of data. First row. So array name, first row, first column. So username 1. Then, because first 1 column is done, but we want 2 columns, right? Second column. Array, first row, second column, password 1. So that means first row is done. Second row, data, array, second row, first column, username 2. So data, second row, second column, password 2. Password 2. Third row, data, third row, first column, username 3. Array, name, third row, second column, password 3. Now, all this data stored where? In the data array. Now, return that array, because this is a return type method. So, this method is a return type method. So, that method is returning an object to them. So, that's an interview question. So, what kind of data provider annotated method will return? What is the return type of data provider annotation? So, you have to give answer. Object to two-dimensional array. Object two-dimensional array. So at the rate test, so bracket data provider equal to, so data provider name, data provider method name. So public void login test, string uname, comma string password. So you have to, so just see, this is the user number of parameters. This is the one. This is the number of parameters. So how you are mapping this data provider and the test method? So using data provider keyword. How you are mapping for which data provider you need to get the data for this test method. You are telling, okay, at the rate test data provider equal to either data provider name. Here you are giving a data provider name, right? Either this name or this method name. If you give a name, provide the name. If you don't give a name here and you provide the method name, so this test method will go and pick this data for this username parameter and password parameter. And you are going to use parameters inside the method body, right? And it will replace and repeat. First, this username 1 will come, password 1 will come. So then all the test steps will execute. So next, second username will fetch and password will fetch and uses in the method and executes all the steps. Then again it will go to third automatically to fetch the username 3 and password 3, and it will replace wherever you are using these parameter names in the method body. So this is the repeats automatically. You don't need to write a loop also. So you have to write a proper steps, all the steps. Okay, so that is the main concept. Any questions? That's a data provider annotation. Why you will use a data provider annotation?
Supply the data.
To supply the data to the test methods. Or you can say, so to perform the data driven testing, we can use data provider annotation. So they will ask, how can you perform the data provider annotation? So you can tell, so data provider annotation is used to perform the data driven testing. We can store the data in the data provider annotated method. Then you can supply to a test method. How you can supply? So you have to write the test bracket. Exactly you have to write this keyword, a data provider keyword. So first data is a lowercase, provider P capital equal to, so data provider name or method name you give, then you write all the steps in the, so your test method. That's how to supply the data to a data provider annotation. Next, @parameters annotation. So @parameters annotation mainly used to supply the data from XML file. So now you can give directly in the method itself, right? Wherever you want to type or for some parameters. But you can give a data from XML file. XML file I have shown you here, right? So this is the one XML file, this is another type of XML file, or this is another XML file, right? From XML file, you can supply the data to your test methods or different annotated methods. So how you can do using @parameters annotation describes how to perform, how to pass parameters values to a test method or any another annotation method. How you can pass a data from XML file to your test method or any another annotated method. That is using @parameters annotation you have to use. So you can use name and value attributes along with a parameter tag in the XML file. So the name attribute of the tag defines name of the parameter, and the value attribute defines value of the parameter. So you have to write like this: public class parameter demo @parameters annotation. First in your code you write @parameters annotation, and parameter names you write how many parameters you want to declare. Declare first parameters. Then @test method public void test. So same parameter name should come here. Same parameter name should come here. Now this parameter 1 you are using in the method inside. So these values I need to supply from XML file. How can you supply? You create an XML file. How to create an XML file? So you right click on the any class, for which class you want to create a XML file. Right click on the class and select a TestNG options, convert to TestNG. So yesterday I have shown you after installing. So you right click and you can see convert to TestNG. Here you can see convert to TestNG. So you can create a TestNG from here. See the suit name, test tag, all the format you will get automatically. So that's how to create a XML file. After creating an XML file, okay, then you need to add a parameter tag for each parameter. So this is the one parameter, this is the another parameter, right? Each parameter, one parameter tag you have to create. So parameter tag, name equal to parameter 1, value, you give the value. For example, parameter name is email, you give your email. If parameter name is a phone, you give the phone number. So parameter name password, you give the password value. So how many parameters? Each parameter, one parameter tag, name attribute and name value, parameter name, and value equal to parameter value. So then, okay, these values you are supplying to which class? So that classes you mention here. So classes tag, then class tag, name equal to package name dot class name 1, another class, name equal to package name dot class 2, and close the classes tag, close the test tag, close the suit tag. So this is the suit tag, starts and ends here. Test tag starts here, ends here. Then test tag after you can write a parameters. If parameters are required, if you are supplying data from XML file, so first you have to declare like this, then declare the parameters, then those parameters should match here. So these parameter names should match in the XML file also. If you are not matching, it will throw error because it doesn't understand, right? So that's how to supply the data from XML file using @parameters annotation. Any questions? Okay, so let's join back. We'll discuss about @test keywords, @test keywords and parameters. Yeah.